Hmm?
Paul, can you hear me?
Yes.
Susanna got
Honey, you
me.
gotta, hey, hold on. I can't hear the Zoom. All right, go ahead.
Sorry, Susanna got me the nerve up to ask you a question. So later, when you're ready for questions, let me know.
Give me the question now.
Oh,
Yes.
We're waiting
Okay.
for somebody.
She
Come on.
said I better ask exactly how I asked her. Hang on.
Somebody's sitting there too, Nora.
Okay, you're listening?
Yes.
I've been listening to a lot of Paul, and I know I'm overthinking, but still desperate to understand. Quote, what you're looking for is what you're looking with, or however that quote goes. I get selfing. I get self can't see self. I get self has defeated me, but I can't quite grasp the whole who's observing or what is observing, however that goes. And she tried to explain it. Then she said, if you have the courage, ask him, because I think a lot of people could benefit from hearing him riff that. And I said, how do I ask him? She said exactly how you asked me. So there you go.
Well, you got to repeat it.
I don't understand who's the observer if it's not me.
Yes, you can understand who's the observer because you're the observing.
I'm the observing or the observer?
See, that which you are can understand and not understand a lot of stuff. It can't understand what it is. It's being what it is. Yeah. So the idea of understanding is like almost redundant. So that which you want to understand or believe should understand is not that. Yeah. So the head is just appearing in the role of claiming to be that which is observing and is asking, what is it that's observing? Yeah, but
so,
it's not.
So one of her answers was really good. She said, what you're doing is going back to, oh, here it is. She said, spirit, God, universal energy, but we are all actually made of is what's observing. Then your head rushes in and it tries to own it and make it about Jane, and that's the self.
Yes, but see, the head owns it. You see that it doesn't own it. The head doesn't try to own it. The head owns it. The head says it's you. It's not trying to say
so
it's
keep
you.
listening and I'll get it one day.
No, you're not. Just keep listening. Yeah, you're not going to get it one day.
Okay.
Yeah. You are it. You see, what you get is that you are it. And if you get that one day, you've always been that.
Oh, shit.
So did you actually get it that one day? No, you didn't get it that one day. You are it, but you are it in, let's say, on one day. Yeah, but you did not get it on that one day because you've always been it. Yeah.
I might
It's
come
like
to the realization that
this.
I've always
Let me
been.
give you an example. Okay.
Okay.
So let's say something occurs, and that which occurs gives meaning to that which has seemingly occurred for years and says, you know what, if that which seemingly occurred brought me to this moment, yeah, then it was worth all of it. Yeah. And that moment tells you it's always been this way. So you never get it. You are it. Yeah. This is what happens. The getting is that you're never going to get it because you are it. Yeah. So you have the feeling that you're seeking for, but the explanation or the claiming of it doesn't pass the test because you are it. It tells you you are that which you've been looking for. Yeah.
So stay out of the selfing. Stay out of the selfing.
No, it's not stay in or out of the selfing. See, it's not you. That's all. You see the head. People here, have you heard anything about this? You have. All right. So
if everything is about what I'm not, should I just stop trying to figure out what I am?
Well, I would just see you're not that which is trying to figure out what you are. So you don't stop anything. Just see that which says it's doing it and should stop. You're not. So you lose interest in it doing something and you lose interest in it stopping doing something. Because the meaning it's giving that if I stop, then maybe it will finally happen. That's just giving meaning. Yeah. So you see you're neither of those, and you just lose interest in it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, you lose interest in the importance of your getting into a better condition to receive something, or you changing a condition that caused you to lose something. You just lose interest in it all because you're it. It's that simple. Yeah. The reason why there's a lot of interest in the activity of the head is because it's presented itself as you, and seemingly we're living as if that's true. So we have habitual interest and attention goes into that direction. Yeah. But as soon as you get, in a sense, it's not you, you lose interest in it. Just like if there was someone I wanted to know, let's say biblically, in the other room running a meeting. Yes. So let's say a Tupperware thing. So I'm interested, I'm trying to hear what she says, because I'm hoping she says, hey, do you know that guy who's in the other room? I like that guy. What's his name? Yeah. Because I'm interested. I'm thinking I could have babies with her on my couch and everything like that. So there's a lot of meaning being given to that lady. Yeah. And then someone comes up to me and sees that I'm not into the meeting, and they go, hey, Paul, you're here, right? Yeah, yeah. Now I can chant I'm here, but my interest and attention's in the other room. The interest and attention. So someone else sees it and brings me a book, How to Lose Interest and Attention in a Conversation in Another Room. I page through it. I like the principles. I believe it, but it's not helping. My interest and attention is going to that conversation because it's important to, yes, that girl, if she says she likes me, I'm gonna, just accidentally bump into her at the coffee urn, and would you like to? And then hopefully lead to whatever. So as soon as I'm sitting there and she says I really like it, I'm like really keen. Then Steve, and my name is Paul, what happens? I lose interest in that conversation. I don't have to send Navy 6 SEAL team to retrieve the interest and attention. I just lose it. Where does the interest go? It's not there anymore. Where does it go? Find out. Yeah, find out. And then you'll see that from where attention and interest comes from and where it goes is presence. Yeah, that's what we are. We are that which can be interested and attentive. Yes? And so the head directs it a lot, and we seem to be, we're like water that's gotten lazy, and it just flows down the deep made grooves. So the mental groove is everything that's being talked about is you, about you, yes, and on, and so it just goes on. And there's huge gaps in the story. It's just get overridden. We just keep believing that when it says I'm afraid, I feel I'm afraid. Yeah. When the head describes its condition, I take it to be my condition. This is the act of being bonded to self. Yeah. Are you bound to self? No. It's an act of being bound to self. It's something.
Can you repeat what you just said? When the head. You don't know what you just said, do you?
No, I'm hearing you.
Oh, can you repeat what you just said? When the head?
No, I can't. It's lost.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter. Don't worry about getting it. Just the hearing of it is enough. Yeah. Because the hearing of it is going to ring a bell. That's not the bell the head keeps telling you you are. And you're going to have there's going to be a reverberation from that that's going to reverberate through this. Yeah. And it'll be like maybe be greeted as an aha or a sudden whatever, and then it'll get fucking suffocated and drowned again, seemingly. But there's something that gets revealed. So it's not, this talking isn't about isn't grasped by the hearing and then turned into the hearer. It's just talking and hearing. There's energy that's available, and that energy will leave a much larger imprint than all the videos that have been recorded. It's just an energy. Yeah. So when you're told that you're not the grasper, there's a grasping for that. So this is what the beautiful message is. That which has been lying in the weeds with the non-duality understanding, it brings it out into stark contrast. You'll see what selfing is. It won't be an intellectual fucking understanding, the intellectual understanding will trigger a seeing of it. You'll see selfing. Yeah. So you'll see, let's say, this is used to happen all the time. People would come, then they get in touch with me. Oh, I really got the selfing. And, I've been selfing all day. I said, well, that's not really it. And they said, well, and all the selfing's been driving me crazy. No, that's not it. See, that sense of being the noun of either being the doer or the done to is the bondage. Yeah, the sense of being the noun is the product of the selfing. So when we're listening to the selfing, we take ourselves to be a noun. And then they call it self. Yeah, there is no self, there's selfing. So the mental state is in the act of selfing all the time. If you go into one mental process, memory, it remembers you as a body. That's selfing. Yeah. When it's worrying about you in the future, its value of worrying about you in the future is because it's pictured as you as a body. Yes. So the the memory sees you as a body. That's what it takes you as. Yes. Okay. The mental state sees you as a thinker. Yeah. And you're pictured as a body. So when you're feeling, when thoughts are being claimed, which is what the selfing does, the selfing arises after conscious contact. Conscious contact is this on, yeah, and then time sets in and the mental state arises. And in that arising, it claims the conscious contact. And it says you as an action figure, you as this body is the one that's in conscious contact. You are not conscious. The body is an inert non-thing. You are not the I am as a body. But so the claiming of everything. So thinking is claimed, and now you're the thinker. Feelings are claimed, you're the feeler. Doing is claimed, you're the doer. Having is claimed, you're the haver. Losing is claimed, you're the loser. Yeah. So all this verbing, all this activity that we call living, there's a big, huge noun put in there. And now everything is seen as how it pertains to this noun called self-centeredness. This is a view, yeah? It's not just the only view, but it seems to be the dominant view. So every time, as the Course in Miracles says, you know the Course a little, right? It says a very simple, incredible statement. The brain interprets to the body of which it is a part. That's all you need to know. So the head's taking in information, and that information's being collated to fit the story of being a body. That's what happens all day. Yes. Now, are you that body that it's reinforcing, or are you an awareness of that? I would say we're the awareness of it, or even we're the unawareness of it, because there's an awareness there. And hopefully a message is going to wake up and you'll become aware of what you are not aware of. And instead of looking from selfing, you'll be seeing it. Yeah. So instead of looking from that idea that the mental state arrives at, and now that becomes your new starting point. So you believe you're this, and you're living from this as the alpha, and it's the concern as if the omega. Yes. So this is where we start. So consciousness is, notice you think you're conscious. So the body, Paul thinks it's conscious. Yeah, I like it to show us how it's conscious. Can't fucking do anything. Yeah. So the selfing is a mental activity. It has to have time to do it. And it claims whatever it comes in contact with. So if I'm not doing something, it claims that as a doer and gets uncomfortable. You should be doing fucking something. You've got to produce some merit. Yeah. This isn't like this is a meritocracy, and I'm that which is playing God. You've got to jump through some hoops for you to get a few hours of, let's say, peace. Yeah. Yeah. So something is playing God. Yeah. So that's something that's playing God is the mental activity. And we're identified seemingly with that mental activity. And when we realize that something is playing God, and we decide to quit playing God, that's that which is playing God, trying to quit playing God. How can it quit playing God? How can that which is playing God quit playing God? It can't, yes? So you see you're not that. When the first thing, what happens when you're not seeing that and you see a life ruined by something that's playing God, then there's a message. Hey, you got to quit playing God, and people fail because they're identified as that which is playing God. They do not see that. And so now there's another fucking order they can never complete, which is more of a drag than before, which is, I gotta fucking quit playing God. I am my own worst enemy. I hate myself. This is bullshit. Yes.
Right.
Yes. This is bullshit. Yeah. You're before that. You're before that, that hates itself. Yes. So the selfing is an activity, mechanical. You're not doing it. The mental state is doing it. When you get great, it's still going to do it. Yeah. If you're in nirvana, it's going to think nirvana is going to lead to hell, probably. Yeah. Just like if you drop an alcoholic into heaven, it'll be hell in a day. The head is just going to override and have its own story. You're not going to get it. That's like we just said to this lady. Her as an action figure is not going to get it. That's the great news. Yeah, because it will strive, it will even vow to dedicate a whole life to get it, but you are it. You see, its drive to get it is a way of reinforcing the lie that it's not it. Yeah. So we're questioning all of these ships that get launched on the spiritual journey, because I believe the head uses the spiritual journey to reinforce its own primacy. Yeah, in most cases. So here, so let's go on with this for a second. All right. So selfing is a mental activity. It takes time, maybe a half a second. So when there's something that happens, the head claims it and says it happened to you very fast. I humbly believe there's no process in time that can be before that process. So while you're moving down to sit on the meditation cushion, the head has you as the meditator already. Yeah. And now you're going to try to meditate yourself out of that statement for 13 hours. Inevitably, it's not going to work, because this is going to infect the process that comes after it. So the selfing is going to, the main part of the selfing is the claiming. So as soon as it arises and you try to do something, it's going to claim to be the doer of that second thing. That's why it's not working. Yeah. So you're trying to get out of something that you're not in, and you're trying to get into something that you're not out of. So yeah, try it. There's no fucking process can beat the mental process of selfing. None. You can't do anything that fast. It happens so quickly. You're already the meditator before you even meditate. Yeah. And what happens? You go on a retreat. What happens? Great control environment, and it dissipates quickly. Yeah, because the overriding theme takes over, and now you're the one who was on the retreat. And now let's say you become a retreatant, and now you become an expert at retreats and shit like that. And now there's an identity as a retreater. Yeah, just like there was an identity as a drug addict. It's just the head is just walking around looking for shit to adhere to. Yeah. Identify. You know, if you don't see it, you're going to look from it. You're looking from it. The head is looking from it. Now, this is why when we're sharing, we're not talking to you. It's pointless. We're talking over your head to what you are, about you. I do not want to talk to you about what you are. It doesn't go anywhere. It just goes to more fucking meetings and more retreats and more fucking books and more DVDs. No, you are not going to get it. You are the obstacle, basically. Not as, oh, we've got to destroy it. No, it's actually a perfect teaching tool. The greatest way to have a sense of what you are is through seeing what you're not. By being aware of what has been presented as you all these years as not you is revelatory. Yeah. So instead of having like a lazy consent to the manufacturing of this story called Paul, there's now a nay, a healthy nay. You're like, You're just looking at it, and then you see the emperor with no clothes. Yeah. And then you see the emperor with no clothes when it has a lot of clothes on. That's really valuable. Seeing the emperor with no clothes is maybe a peak event, but to have the understanding, no matter how many pieces of clothing the emperor is wearing, he has no clothes, is fucking good. Yeah. Because now you're traveling lighter as a basis, not as an arrival or somewhere you want to achieve, but as an inherent state. Yeah. That you are awake to being awake. Instead of enjoying the great glory and joy of thinking you're asleep and then trying to become awake, you're awake to being awake. I believe everyone's awake. I believe we can seem not to be awake to that, or we can seem to be awake to that. One is traveling lighter, the other one's traveling heavy. Most, and especially in spirituality, traveling heavy concerning traveling lighter. That's the weirdest thing. You see that most of us would have done a lot better if we never heard the word awakening. We would have had probably a better Saturday. Yeah. And we definitely would have had a better day if we had never heard the word enlightenment. Yeah. So one of the definitions of enlightenment is the cessation of all suffering. Claimed by us is another tool of suffering. How much more do you need? You don't need thousands of examples. They're right there. It doesn't get any better. If you catch, it doesn't have its great turning great moment. It doesn't. It's mechanical. It does it. And this is the thing. A lot of times we don't want to tell the truth about it because we think it's about us. But what really takes away that shield of protection is when you see it's not you. Then it can be quite obvious the bogusness of it. Yeah, yeah. And what happens when you lose interest and attention in that? I don't know. Find out. Maybe you'll feel content and satisfied as your day. Yeah, and then maybe instead of your lofty goals of transcending by 4, you're just looking forward to a latte. Like an oat latte at 2. Yeah, which I'll probably be more successful at getting, the oat latte. Yeah, yeah. So you lose interest in the need to be liberated. Yeah, because you've lost interest in that needs to be liberated, which is not you. Your head would love to get liberated, but it wants to be there to experience it. Yeah, so you get liberated from that by loss of interest. You just lose interest in a lot of shit. And that interest returns and gets redistributed in different ways. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know if there's been a huge boom in the population of hummingbirds in Marin, but I've seen a whole lot more. Yeah, it's like that. So you start seeing a whole lot more of what's going on instead of looking for more seeing. There's seeing more. Yeah, your lens is opened and you've got more of a relaxed panoramic view than a myopic view. Yeah, and while you're like this, you see a whole lot more. You may lose interest in details, but you get a larger picture. Yeah, it's cool. So, and satsang is, I haven't done anything for a long time. Satsang has been a good basis of renewal of that which is always fresh. Yeah, passing it on, hearing about it. It's cool. So that's the thing. Yes, there is no observer. There's no awesome observer. There's just observing. Yeah, like if you believe you're going to meet the creator, it's going to be creative. It's going to be creating. It's an activity. Yes, this is the stillness of whatever in manifestation. So yeah, so that's verbing, and you can see the mental state has attempted to claim the verbing and turn it into a story about a noun. Yeah. And this is duality, yes, noun and verb. And the message of non-duality is negating that, noun and verb. It doesn't mean it's all verbing, but see, the noun is a verb. The noun is produced by verbing. Selfing produces the sense of being a noun. The noun is not selfing. Yeah. There's no noun to self. Yeah, there's no noun that can do it. There's a doing of selfing, and then there's a sense of a noun. The noun, when there's a sense of, presupposes to be before everything, and now as those people reacted to, when they hear the idea of selfing, they call me, I've been selfing all day. It was a perfect example of what we're sharing. Yeah, there's selfing, then something occurs. There's an idea of being a self. The self is presupposed before everything, and now you believe you're doing the self. Something else to get guilty about.
It's like a phone going off and something. She's like, this thing. She's saying like, it's my phone interrupting the meeting.
No, it isn't. It's part of the whole meeting. It's part of the meeting. Yeah, it's the whole part of the meeting. That's the beauty of it. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Yeah, we've had dogs, we've had birth be given here, we've had a lot of shit at meetings.
Wow.
People come in, sometimes it's like a dog show. We have 3 or 4 kids, little babies, you know. Yeah, it's wild. The whole point is there isn't a point, really. It's just something happens. I don't know how, and I don't really care. I just feel, the feeling that there's a sense of now is the exact feeling I've sensed for years. Yeah. The presence that this always brings me back to, I've never left. It's the exact same as when I first started hearing it and stuff. Yeah. There was like an unspoken yes. It was like a knowledge before knowing, and it's always it's the same clang, the same notes been played all these years. Every time I come here, every time, yeah, it's been it's just yeah. So that's the selfing. Yeah. Now, I wanted to talk about this idea of the Ramana Maharshi puts a very beautiful, if you've heard of Ramana Maharshi, famous, he's the godfather of non-duality, pretty much. So he passed in 1950, I think, but he would say there's this presupposing of a non-existent thing, which is the body, yeah, being what? Existing. So the mental state is presupposing that this non-existent thing is existing. Yeah, and then wanting to get salvation for itself as the non-existent thing. Says, if this is the case, and the way he presented it, he was taking it to be the case. If this is the case, is this like the first mental flaw, the first rug it throws down, is this idea that you are an existent thing, that you're the one who's alive. Yeah. And so there's a seeking for salvation. So he goes, at this point, your spiritual practices themselves are actually being used to reinforce the non-existent thing. How can they destroy it? You see? So this happened in like a half a second of time, right after conscious contact. There has been this assumption or presupposing that this non-existent thing is the awareness, is the I am. Yeah. And then the I am now starts looking for itself as a form of a future salvation, all the while being I am. So this is why what's looking is what you're looking for. So what's looking is the I am, and now we're looking for it as I am Paul. Yeah, because Paul is disguising the I am from Paul itself. So now Paul is using the I am to get to the I am as a pursuit of an I am Paul. So Paul gets reinforced looking for the I am, instead of Paul gets completely forgotten or lost interest in seeing it from the I am. Yeah. So if you see Paul from what you are, you're going to lose interest. If you're looking for what you're from Paul, it's going to garner a lot of interest. I mean, so Paul is going to be fed all day in the looking for the absence of Paul. So if this works, if you hear this equation, the beautiful point is, if you're a number in it, you can't get out of it. And the only out is you're not in. Yeah. So you see, I'm not that which is playing God. So does it keep playing God? Yes. Does its sphere of playing God shrink? Yes. Yeah. Way yes. So it shrinks, but does it still demand a square in the Zoom? Yeah. Do you watch it virtual hand up every day? Yes. Do you ask it anything? No. Is it on mute most of the time? Yes. Does it know it's on mute? No. Does it think it got its point across? Yes. Do you see his point is ridiculous? Yes. Yeah. That's what happens. You lose interest in you, not as you. See, trying to lose interest in you as you is more interest in you. If you set out on a course to lose interest in self, that's interest in self. You can't get out of it if you're in it. That's the whole point. We've been trying to get out of something we're not in for a long fucking time. I've used a lot of trajectories, drugs, everything else. And all of them have failed, which is wonderful. It's hallelujah, because it finally showed me I cannot escape an imaginary place. So this is truly dreaming. And in the dreaming, I want to escape the dreaming as if it's a dream, as if it's a noun, as if it's a thing, as if it's something I can leave. Yet I can't, because it isn't. It's dreaming. So am I in a dream? No, the Course in Miracles says you're the dreaming. Wow, that's a whole different position. Yeah, wait a minute. Am I in God's dream? No, you are the dreaming of the dream. You're giving it all the meaning it has. That's a pretty comprehensive statement. If you like the Course, you're giving everything all. So everything and all doesn't leave any room for, yeah. So you and I give everything all the meaning it has. Wow. So what are you going to do about that? Absolutely fucking nothing. You're going to see it and let it do what it does. Yeah. Yeah. So like I always tell Amelia, if I'm leaving the house to save the world, lock me in, just don't set me off out there, just fucking leave it alone. Yeah. It's not calling for me. It's not putting up the bat signal. It just keeps on going. So yes, this is about recognizing you're not going to get it. And then it's a hallelujah because you are it. Now, it's not going to be a hallelujah to the head. It's going to get frustrated and think, I've spent a lot of time and I still believe I'm going to get it. Well, great. I wouldn't waste a second trying to convince it otherwise. Just see it's not you. So while it's pursuing this thing that it can never get, you're sitting in that thing that it can never get. Yeah. You don't see it as it would see you, as another you. You just see it. I don't know what you see it from, but you don't see it as another you. It's not another you called Paul looking at the pitiful Paul looking for the other you, Paul. It isn't. It's just looking at this idea, not being of that idea. I can tell you that. When there's a feeling of seeing it, you're not of its construction. That is for sure. So it's not another Paul who's gotten enlightened about the other Paul. There's no Paul there. Yeah, there's no noun to be found. So you can feel it when you're seeing what you're not from what you are. You can't really feel it when you're doing the opposite. The head has to just keep reinforcing it. But when you're seeing it from what you are, there's a sense of something. Yeah. And the funny thing is, when you recognize the quality on having never left, yeah, it's that beautiful. When you do something in the head, it has to constantly repeat it. When you land on this, it tells you you've never left. It tells you this is all there's always been. It's emphatically complete. And there's no chirping or no 800 choruses. It's just clear. Yeah, you feel this, it's always been this way. It's not like I've got it. It's someone said it's no, it just informs you. And that information doesn't go up here to get undone or changed or reconfigured or redirected. It sits somewhere. I would say in the vagueness of the I am, there's a knowing right there that can be very, very powerful here in this event. Yeah, it's a knowing, like we use this thing that one year I was in India and I was talking at this meeting with a guy named Ramesh Valsakar, and someone sent me the video of it years later. And he was trying to get a point across. I'm going to change how he did it. But let's say if today, if I went to work, would I forget that I have a house? So let's say I woke up in a house, yeah, and I went to work. Would me being at a different place than the house convince me I don't have a house? And if I was working, if I stayed overtime with more time working, convince me I don't have a house? No, yeah. You know what I mean? If I worked in Europe, would going there, that huge commute, convince me I don't have a house? No, there's a knowing I have a house. I don't have to chant while I'm work. I have a house, I have a house, or look at pictures at lunch. And there's my house, and my house, No, I have a knowledge. It's not an acquired like mathematical thing. It's a sense that I have a house. Yeah, I woke up there, I'm feeling pretty assured, and there's the doubts aren't, there's no doubts. But if I work after 8, I'm not gonna have, I have a house, that's a fact. So this is what this message is like. There's something in us, not in us, as us. It's a knowing sort of ember or something, and it permeates and it brings an assuredness you may not find some signs of here. Yeah, it's just in your own makeup that the answer is, and it reverberates, and you're walking around in an ease and comfort instead of an alertness and a fucking anxiety. Yes, you're just awake to being okay, even though your head and your action figure and the body and your liver and everything may not be. In one level you are, and that level is profound and it's not of time, can't be fixed or fucked, it's just available. Yeah, and now you're available. And you have an understanding, a non-dual understanding that allows you to see the misunderstandings of the head. And they will be brought into stark contrast. The shit that you just took to be the way it was, you'll start seeing it almost as if you had an x-ray of it, and you'll realize really what's going on. Yeah. And it brings you a peace that passeth our understanding. Our understanding is quite myopic and quite limited. We understand everything starting as a thing. That's going to throw you off if no thingness is the key. So yeah, it's simple. I dig it. I've heard it,
I think it's fascinating, if I may, that how quick, you mentioned how quick the system takes it, and that's why I think these like repeated, like I come back and I watch your videos, and it's just a reminding.
Yeah,
it's really beautiful because like you say, the system was so quick that we could go back to that narrative that we are a long-standing, unchanging thing, and so it's good to get the gentle reminders. But I was going to say, I also find it interesting that how language traps it. So we say like, "Oh man, how was your day?" And I said, "I had kind of an emotional day." I'm just like, this person was in my head. And so at every point, with every one of those phrases, there's this reinforcement of the narrative.
Yes, of course,
And I know we have to do that to sort of as personas and whatever to sort of relate to people or be in relationship with other human beings. But I find it really interesting, and it's sort of not talked about, that the language that we use is constantly trapped.
Oh yeah, it's the trance inducer. Yeah, but the thing is, what the head is holding on is its mere appearance is a disqualification of the no thing, when its huge appearance doesn't disqualify the no thing. So there's still in a lot of people's belief system that has to be extinguished for them to be in the, it's not true.
Right.
It's not true. It throws its little pale shadow, but you don't have to live under its belief. Yes. So its blood and its food is relevance when it comes to this situation. So it believes it's relevant by presenting itself as what's blocking us off from the. It isn't. It's appearing in the space that we are.
Right.
It's not obstructing that space. Only if our eyes have been adjusted to see things. Yeah. When you see it panoramically, the head has its own little story. It's just its proportion gets shrunk. Right. It's not as big and as large as important as it was hoping it to be. It shrinks, it's down, and what's left is more space. So now, and you've lost interest in focusing on that little square, obviously you start focusing on a larger square and more shit gets revealed about that little square. And one of it's what it dies from is lack of relevance, really. It wants you to believe a little bit of it appearing means it's what you think you are is not appearing. It's a story from it.
And then even now, as I'm finally at a meeting, the non-duality meeting with you in person, I have a little bit of a fanboy thing, so I apologize for that. But it's going to be later on. There's going to be this telling of a story, like I was there, can't get a ball. You know, there's going to be like I got that thing, which I realized that's again not it.
Well, that's right. So that's why it's good to get that, because then you can see it's not it.
Because I mean, I just
really see, everything has great value. Before, seeing it as us, it was like heavy. Now you're going to see it just like you saw it as you, but as not you. And now you're going to have a different effect, which is lightness. This is what we call traveling lighter here, because the options here are either traveling heavy or traveling lighter. And one is traveling heavy is going to be reinforced by believing the shit that's being presented. Yeah. And traveling lighter is when you're not believing it. So like in AA, we have false evidence appears real. So that's one of the fear acronyms. So false evidence, where is it appearing real? It's false evidence in the head. What allows it to appear real is us. We are the reality. As Ramana said, being ourselves reality, the greatest mystery is reality wanting to attain reality, being ourselves reality, obviously. Yeah. So we as reality are giving reality to false evidence all day because we're basically are doing that act from false evidence. So we want to stop, I want to get out of the false evidence appearing real. You're the epitome of false evidence appearing real. So it's like Dracula will go on the vampire hunts. Yeah, to disguise his Dracula-ness. He's like the king of the vampires. Let's kill those motherfuckers. So all the hunts will be looking, and he'll be in the. Oh yeah. Just like a roommate that stole something and then helps you look for it. Yeah. Maybe you misplaced it here. He knows it's gone. But
it's like watching the movies where you see that that at some point the twist is going to be like, oh, the protagonist is actually the villain.
That's right. That's right. Well, this is the case. Yeah. So false evidence. It's appearing real is now concerned about false evidence appearing real. Why wouldn't you go to this first? I've got to get out of fear. As fear? That's good. I'd like to see that one pulled off. This false evidence appearing real is this. Doesn't mean bad or good. This is false evidence appearing real. The head has taken evidence, which is I am, and it now uses that evidence as I am to verify the story I am Paul. When you feel the presence, which you feel all day, you just call it you, Paul. But that's the presence. The presence is I am. It's been named Paul. And then all of Paul is rooted and triggers mental agitation at the expense of resting in the I am, which is truly where Paul needs to arrive, that where he never left. The I am. The I am, the mental state has reacted to the I am and it has called it Paul. And now, and then just ran the other way. Get as far away as I am and just keep reinforcing Paul. Yeah. And there's certain things you do in life, let's say surfing, for me, the talks, that you feel the same presence every fucking time. Yes. I mean, it's obvious. And it has nothing to do with your physical condition or mental condition or circumstantial condition or financial condition. I come in here for 20, 30 years and the same sense, the same presence is always available at all times. It's not based on this condition. Yeah, this condition doesn't have to be in a certain condition that this condition is going to tell me for it to be that. It can't be that. It's a condition. Yes. So I saw this in younger when I was speaking in AA in 91. I was asked to speak to a large amount of people, and I had no idea that something would come through. And for 16 years, I gave a talk if I was here in AA on Monday nights. A lot of times I was out of the country, but anytime I'd always be there. And I've had, you know, I was waiting to hear if I had AIDS. My girlfriend just left me. I had no money. It didn't matter what my condition was. That power came through. And it was, I got convinced over time that I have nothing actually to do with it.
Right.
Yes. If I'm just willing to realize just a little, I have nothing actually to do with it. It just comes in, and its condition was not based on my condition. That is fucking for sure. Yeah. Because my condition, I would have said, I am not qualified to say anything. I just broke up and may have AIDS. It didn't matter. It used me. Yeah. 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 So, and to me, the highest form that the action figure can arrive at is to know its seed assignment. Yeah. To know it's being used. Yeah. Yeah. And have a lot of gratitude and awe, AWE, around that. Yeah. I think the action figure has certain levels it can reach to, but it can't reach to the stars. But it can have empathy. It can feel gratitude. It can feel honor and awe. Yeah. And with the sense that something is doing for it what it cannot do for itself. Yeah. Which is beautiful, I feel. So, yeah. Selfing is mechanical. You're not doing it. Yeah. So when you think you've completely changed and it doesn't change, that's why. It has nothing to do with you. It's not part of your team. It's got its own thing going on, and it's mechanical. If we're conscious and we meet something, it gets triggered and it claims that event and runs it through the same narrative mill. Yeah, a self-centered story.
As a musician, I sometimes talk to some workmates that aren't whatever transitions or something. But and they'll say, oh, I don't really know anything about music. And I said, well, something does, because the something will hear that and go, oh, that sounds like shit, or it's discordant or cacophonic.
Yeah.
So like so a baby would even know that. And so you say like, but a baby's not trained, but then you sort of like try to get the message, you know, that your ear will know. And that's part of what I think you're talking about here, is that the ear knows what is discordant or what is harmonious. It's like you didn't have to train that. You didn't have to become a musician, music theory, all this kind of whatever. You didn't have to be classically trained. You will know whether or not it's harmonious or cacophonic, or you know. So that's, and if a person was really to kind of like let that download, as you said, that would be part of the thing. Like how does the ear just know that? You know?
Yeah, and then you lose interest in the how. But sure. I know you would know immediately that I don't have any whatever it's called, if I ever sang. Everyone in the room would know quickly. I don't have any sense of notes.
How dare you? Of course you do.
Of course I do.
You probably do.
Yeah.
But it's more the idea of like,
yeah,
if you know if something sounds like,
yeah,
you can say this, can you tell me if this is, you know.
Yeah, the head jumps in and says it's the starting point, and it isn't. You start before it. You do. Yeah, there's an awareness, and the awareness is of the head. The head is not aware of that. The awareness is the awareness of the head. The head is not aware of the awareness. It isn't. The head is just going on, doing its thing. And there can be a very little light being shown on it, or there can be a lot of light, and then more gets revealed. It's not like there's not more seeing, there's seeing more. Yeah, you just more gets revealed.
Well,
Yeah.
what about when you, as
Hmm?
an individual,
Hmm?
takes in marijuana to lose you?
To do what?
If you smoke marijuana, if you have these negative reverberations of the I, right?
Yeah.
Control, and you use the marijuana to relieve yourself of yourself.
Yeah,
Is there a harm in it?
I don't know.
Is it?
I don't do that,
Is
so I
it
don't know.
selfish? Right, but is it selfish?
I don't know.
Marijuana become.
No, see, not the act itself isn't the selfing. It's the claiming of the act, that of you being the doer of it is the selfing. So whatever the act is has its own effects, and then a lot's added to it by the head. So the selfing is doing that. So the selfing, we don't have any opinion on marijuana or no marijuana, because you're going to give it the meaning it's going to have. Yeah, so some people it's helping far out. I hope they realize when it stops helping and they can do something else. Or a lot of people, they start off doing something and it's helping, and then there's something kicks in, and then something takes over. That isn't helpful. Yeah.
What lives there other people in the room?
Hmm?
Never mind.
Yes, you know, so yeah, so the marijuana, if it's working and if you have pain, but again, the importance that we're targeting is what's before. So smoking marijuana is an action. The claiming of it and having it, you being the smoking of the marijuana, and now you're getting a little guilty because you're thinking I shouldn't smoke marijuana and I'm smoking now, but and you go on to this thing. To me, that's the selfing. Yeah.
Okay.
And so the feeling, what gives the mental obsession the trigger isn't the marijuana, it's the one who's smoking it or not smoking it. Yeah, so the marijuana is just a tool to implement the obsession with you. Yeah, so that to me is we're looking at that really, and not what comes after that in these talks. Yeah, we may be sloppy looking, but we're quite surgical. We're looking at the activity of how the head claims, and because suddenly you're going to have a big talk about the meaning of marijuana, but really it's the sense of the doer, the smoker of it. Yeah, that to me is where I look.
Very important.
Yes, yeah, because
No, I see what you're doing.
and then someone can do smoke and it's great. Another person can smoke and it's not great. Not based on the quality of the marijuana, it's based on the condition of the person. So you and I are giving everything all the meaning it has. And this is why there's no rote answers. You can't say this is bad or this is good. It can be good at one point, it can be bad at the next point. Yeah, so there's a subtlety here in dreaming, because the worst thing that can ever happen to you in dreaming can be seen later on as the best thing that happened to you, because it doesn't have a real weight to it. It wasn't the worst thing that ever happened. You just saw it that way. And now you're seeing it in another way. So you are always dreaming. And this is dreaming. And really everything, marijuana and everything else, is inherently empty of reality other than what we give it. Really. So we are the dreaming of this event. Yeah. And it's not an event, it's an inventing, so to speak. It's all ing. So you can say a lot of shit happened, but you can always say nothing ever happened. So there's a lot of shit happening, but nothing ever happened. It's just happening. So yeah, I always like to look at the before, because I don't have opinions on the after, whatever of shit. I don't, because the head loves to run into these other storylines like free will and self-determination, instead of looking at the sense of individuality that gives birth to the idea of free will. So if you're not an individual, but I have a sense of individuality, that doesn't mean you're an individual. That means there's a sense of individuality. Yeah. Now, the sense of individuality, if it's working, you think you're an individual who's having that sense of individuality. There's the bondage. Yeah. So that's the point of the talks.
Even on the bondage of self, and I'm sorry, somebody.
No, she's playing.
The bondage of self, from your neck of the woods, through Bill Burr, as you might be aware, this comedian, his sign off is "Go fuck yourself," and anyway. But one time I was thinking, I caught the thoughts that were going, oh, so negative. Why does he have to say "Go fuck yourself" at the end of this? But the point is, it's what dawned on this thing the other day was that it's actually a blessing, because the self can get fucked. Going along to the idea of like bondage of self, and it's sort of like, instead of saying that like you're not worthy as human beings, he's actually saying, in a way, accidentally possibly, he's saying that like the self can go get fucked, meaning going along to the bondage of self.
Yeah.
And so I thought, I was realizing it had this whole flip of like, oh, it's actually a blessing. When my conditioning was saying like, oh, why does he have to be so negative? We're going along laughing, and then he's like, that's his little sign off, this kind of macho thing. And I realized it's not what this system was thinking it was, maybe, in a way.
Well, that's the thing with this, is your emphasis is going to change, or the emphasis you notice is going to change. So just like aluminum and aluminium, whatever, it's going to be like that. But do you see that? It's just going to be the emphasis of how you see things is going to change. And you may see that which came after to be before, and it's very revealing.
What's the true pronunciation?
I don't care. I'm just saying the pronunciation I have absolutely no interest in. It's the message of the emphasis. So the same words, the same lines of letters can mean something different, can be said differently. To me, that's the emphasis is cool. Yeah, because you may not be able to change A, L, U, M, whatever, the letters, but you can change, or a lot can change in the meaning of it. Yeah. Yeah. And to me, this is what happens when in the traveling lighter, how life has been emphasized changes. You don't emphasize what used to be emphasized. There's like the highlighter has been taken away from something, and something else is highlighting life now. Yeah. And you can really distinctly tell the difference of the art, by the art and the artist, you can tell the difference. Yeah. It's like the course would, I don't want to go into that. We got to go for a coffee soon. Any question on Zoom?
Yeah. Lori has a question. Lori?
And then, yeah.
I've been thinking a lot about that dialogue that goes on in the head. I mean, sometimes it doesn't feel so crazy or non-productive. Sometimes it feels like there might be some clarity. So I don't know. I just never know whether to just go with it or not.
Why not? If it's clear and stuff. Ramesh Balsekar, again, he bent over backwards, and he would talk about the working mind and then the psychological mind. So yeah, like when I'm looking at a thing and I'm trying to cut a piece of wood and fit it into a certain place, then the working mind comes up with some nice ideas. Yeah. The psychological mind would be, you suck, you're a terrible carpenter, never going to work. Yes. So there is some quality, and especially necessary here, and it has its value. It's the overriding of the one aspect of it going over you all day as a self is what we need a little relief from, and you can't get relief from it as it. We've all attempted that, and it usually leads to addictions. Yeah. So if you need constant relief from it as it's going to take a form of addiction. It is. That's how it's going to look, because it fails. Because the real addiction is to the idea of self. Yeah. So, but the head works, and take what's, take the good shit and leave the rest if you can. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, where do you think intuitive thoughts, they come into the same arena as thoughts, but they come seemingly or directed by something else, don't they? An intuitive thought or a sudden knowing. It appears in the same screen, but it seems to have come, or the producer or the director of it was different than the shit we usually get. Yeah. Yeah. So the system itself, there's nothing wrong with it. It's the preoccupation with, and the emphasis of meaning has been given to the psychological, person, the doer, the thinker, the feeler, way too much. Yes. Yeah. So you just lose interest. Doesn't mean you're comatose. You have a good idea about what wood I should use comes, I recognize it. When someone says, Paul, you want a coffee, I respond. It's not like I have attendants that walk me around, come out of my potato-like state, and I speak for an hour and then go back. No. I have a narrative going on. And before it was seen more like CNN Newsflash, now it's Comedy Central. It's basically the same narrative, but I take the emphasis as a comedic one now, instead of taking it to be dramatically true. I take it to be a satire. What can I say? I mean, it's hilarious. I enjoy it a lot. I don't know if Amelia does, but she's witnessing all the skits all day in my head. But yeah, so yeah. Any is that all right, hon? Yeah. A David S. in South Carolina. Do you have something you want to say? Come on, Noah, sit down a second. We're going to be going soon. Yes, can it?
I don't think so. He's muted. You're talking,
Oh,
David.
he passed on it. All right. Anyone else? Who's talking to me?
I
Carrie.
am. My name's Carrie.
Oh, Mike isn't doing anything. All right.
Mike's at a potluck.
He has a potluck. All right. All right. So then let's say goodbye. If everyone's all cool. Yeah. All right. So Laurie, I'm going to start with you. Thank you. Thanks for your holding the space, eh? Yeah. There's two Paul Heddermans, therefore there mustn't be one.
No, so he left his camera on, I think, so.
I know. Carrie, thanks for the
You're
service,
welcome.
jumping into the situation. Yeah. John S. in Florida. Are you satisfied with the talk, John S.? Was it enough? Yeah. Marty. Wi-Fi. Here she is, Akila. Nice to see you, honey, in Arizona. Gills, iPhone 4S. Nice to see you, Gil. Amelin. Oh, Amelin. She usually falls asleep. I think she's out cold. Let's see. She gets it through osmosis. It's nice. There she is. Oh no, there's some consciousness stirring. Lee Britton. How are you, Lee? Yeah, good. Andre. Wow, nice picture. Matt. Oh, Matt J. Nice to see you, Matt. Are you coming to it, Sicily? No,
unfortunately not, Paul. No.
We'll feel that we'll send you some of the spirit of it, bro. We're going to send some of the spirit of it to you. I lost you. I hope to see you soon, Matt.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah. Mia, I don't know where you are. Santa Cruz. Oh, she's with Sherry. Nice to see both of you. Rich here, Rich now. Christine, yes, nice. Jeff. Al in Vegas. Mike Clark in Mexico. Stumbling and bumbling. He's lost his way.
Rumbling, stumbling, bumbling.
To finally realize there is no way.
The whole point is there is no point.
That's right, bro. And and still there'll be more. Rainier's iPad. Oh, it's Hiram. Oh, Hey, Hiram, I don't think we're ever gonna get those hats. The hats haven't come yet. Nice to see you, bro. Hey, Anu, thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. My lavish lifestyle is based on the generosity of strangers. Not bad. 30-something years. It's worked out. Anu, nice to see you, honey. David in South Carolina. I'm going to be seeing David very shortly.
Very shortly, and this was a wonderful session today. Thank you.
Oh, great. Jane G, I hope I lost you in that whole riff we had. Yes, that's the point. Yes. It's like whack-a-mole. As every time Jane shows up, you want to whack it.
You got it, Paul. Love you, buddy.
I smile, it's a little sadism runs through my system. I may enjoy it. Who knows? Yeah. Take it up with the boss. Greg, Minneapolis. Are you back in Minneapolis, bro? Good.
No, I'm actually at Miranda's place, and we were up till really early this morning. So she's back in bed, and I'm back in bed just listening. So yeah, it's a nice visit.
Oh, great, great. Well, say hello to her.
I will. Hopefully she's sleeping. She needed it more than I did. So we were up with their nephew late last night. So yeah,
Right.
thanks.
Ariane,
I will.
Ariane, how are you? Ariane, it's nice to see you again. Yes. I guess, hold on. Oh, Joseph, I hope, did you finally figure out how to get on the website?
Yes, I stopped trying to figure it out and then it happened.
Oh, there you go. There's the message, yes?
Yeah, you launched me at Lava Hot Springs about 12 years ago.
Oh, remember the Lava Hot Springs. Wow. Down in Idaho.
I came in late to I was the last one in, and within 10 seconds I was gone, completely gone. And I stayed gone for about 3 days. So that was quite memorable. Yeah, it lingered.
Oh, great, Joe.
Yeah,
that's very good. I like that. Yeah, that was a strange. I liked Michael. Remember Mike? Whatever. I called him the lost brother of Charles Manson. Remember him? Mike Caldwell, whatever. The guy wears a white shirt with the big overalls.
You have a better memory than I do.
He's a great character. He's the one who got me there. He's the one who got me to come to that place, the Lava Hot Springs. Yeah, he was a trip, man. He used to wear sunglasses, and then he'd take them off, and then I realized why he wore his sunglasses. Eyes, fucking Mexican jumping beans with malice. Fucking scary. I missed that guy. I should call him Mike Caldwell. He always wore we bought him a different color shirt because he always wore a white shirt with blue jeans. So we got him a red one or something. Blue is mine. He was very cool. Very cool. All right. Thank you. That's nice. That's nice to meet you, Joseph, from that. Very nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Tariq in Dover, New Jersey. Always a pleasure, Tariq. Let me just get to the end and we'll go. Zoe Banks. David Bitterman. Cassandra, Vlad's in Portugal. We're going to be seeing Vlad soon. Susan K, I can't wait to have another latte on about 10 minutes. Somebody's lifting something heavy. Did you hear that? I hope. John K. John K. Nice to see you, John. Oh, there's Sherry and Mia. Wow. David Bitterman, Roman, Holly. Yeah, I'll see Roman shortly. We got Esther. Nice to see Esther. Chris B in Boston. Hey, David in South Carolina. Hey, thanks everyone. We'll see you. I think everything's on the website and should continue. Yeah. Yes. I'll talk to you soon. Adios. Hey, Zoe, see you. the bomb scare, I don't know. I don't wanna, I could get arrested on a federal offense, so I
Ah.
you should just take a sabbatical, just come to Sicily. Yeah. All right, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Gil and Akila. Thank you, everyone here.
Thanks.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Terry.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. Thanks, everyone. Thank